Laura here from BetterBizAcademy.com and SixFigureWritingSecrets.com, answering the popular question of how to become a freelance writer expert fast. There are a number of different ways you can become an expert and learn your craft as well as a particular industry. But what I recommend to become a freelance writer expert fast is to take a look at the experience you already have. There's a good chance that whether in school, in your job, in volunteer opportunities, or your hobbies, that you have specialized knowledge that can be used to translate into a freelance writing career. If you want to become a freelance writer expert fast, you should capitalize on the experience and knowledge that you already have in the field. For example, when I first got started with my freelance writing career, I focused on writing for the legal and insurance industries. Why? Simply because I'd been working in those industries as a day job for years, so I knew the common terminology and I knew the marketplace and the people who were likely to need the most help in those particular industries. That's a really powerful way to give yourself a leg up. You instantly brand yourself as a niche expert and a freelance writer expert too. Now, that's related to industry. So let's talk a little bit about particular projects. Here I recommend thinking about your best skill sets that you bring to the table. Are you the type of person who really crushes it with long-term gigs and opportunities, like writing huge papers for your college classes? Or are you a person who writes really punchy, funny social media quips? These are two different ends of the freelance writer spectrum. So you want to choose the type of projects that most appeal to you and speak to your skill sets. For example, I'm better with the sort of in-between projects, writing blogs that are between 500 and 1,500 words. I can write them relatively quickly, I enjoy doing them, and it's just enough space to convey the information I need to about my clients. Writing longer projects and taking on bigger projects can be really difficult for me because I have to break those down into 40 or 50 smaller steps and milestones. So for me, I found that the sweet spot is blogging. But for you, it really depends on the type of projects you like working on most. When you're interested in becoming a freelance writer expert fast, the first thing you need to do is to think about what it is you want to see out of your freelance writing business. Most of us come into the freelance writing world as former employees, meaning that we have that employee mindset. We're waiting for somebody else to tell us what to do. But you're building your own business here. So it's time to think about where you will excel the most and where you have the most interest. If you can combine those two things, you'll have an excellent idea of where to go forward with your freelance writing niche, and you'll be able to brand yourself as an industry or project-based expert. So I've branded myself in both my industry and in the type of project I take on. Although there's some variation on both of those ends, I mostly take on writing blogs and web content for attorneys. So I've niched myself by industry, and I've also niched myself by the type of project I typically work on. And I did that simply by figuring out what I was best at doing, what was the easiest for me to do, and where I had the most expertise or background. You too can become a freelance writer expert fast when you sit down and take action. So what I'd encourage you to do as your action step for this particular video is to list all of the different industries in which you've had experience. Everything counts. Volunteer work, time in school, hobbies, it all counts. And then I also want you to sit back and reflect on the written pieces that you've done in the past that you enjoyed the most. Was it shorter pieces? Was it writing an email newsletter? Was it sending off a blog to somebody? Or do you really enjoy the type of longer style pieces because you can get the most out of those? It really depends on you and what you find to be the most beneficial for you and right in your sweet spot. The other thing I can recommend, regardless of what niche or industry you choose, is to educate yourself. Absorb as many things as possible to become a freelance writer expert fast. The way that I became a freelance writer expert fast is I found other people who had built what I wanted to build, a full-time freelance business, and I learned directly from them. Finding a mentor who's already done what you would like to do is a great way to fast track your success, because not only does the mentor help you build your business that's already a successful and proven business with somebody else, but they'll also help you avoid a lot of the common obstacles and missteps that people can make. So all the lessons that I learned trial by fire, I now help my students avoid as much as possible. To become a freelance writer expert fast, it begins by thinking about what your greatest interests are and how you would like to proceed. And then educate yourself and absorb as much information as possible from people who have already built what you wanted to build. To get more free advice about growing your freelance writing career, subscribe to this YouTube channel.